Hello, I am Bryce, and today I'm going to be talking about Star Wars movies and giving my opinion on them. I will do this by talking about the movies in chronological order. First up is The Phantom Menace, which was released in 1999. It is the first movie of the prequel trilogy. This movie shows how Jedi Qui-Gon Jinn and his Padawan Obi-Wan Kenobi overthrow the Trade Federation's blockade of the planet Naboo. Along the way, they come across a young Anakin Skywalker who they find is strong in the Force, and Qui-Gon Jinn believes him to be the chosen one. They also discover the presence of the Sith in Darth Maul, and they thought they were eradicated. Some of my favorite parts of The Phantom Menace are the duel between Qui-Gon Jinn, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Darth Maul. It's one of my favorite duels in Star Wars, and Duel of the Fates helps make the duel very intense and suspenseful. And I think The Phantom Menace is a great place to start Anakin's character and story, and it kind of helps establish it, I think, fairly well. Second up is The Attack of the Clones, released in 2002. It is the second movie of the prequel trilogy. And the movie takes place about 10 years after The Phantom Menace, and the Galactic Republic is under attack by the Separatist movement, or under threat, I guess. Jedi Obi-Wan Kenobi discovers that a clone army is being made for the Galactic Republic on the planet Kamino, and after this, he and his Padawan, Anakin Skywalker, end up on Geonosis, where there is a big battle between the Jedi and the Separatists' droid army that leads to the beginning of the Clone Wars. I like the battle at the towards the end of the movie between the Jedi and the droids. It's a lot of fun to watch them kind of cut down the battle droids, but it is unfortunate that they start losing. And then the clones come in and start turning the tides of the battle. And then I think the movie does a good job of continuing to develop Anakin's character and kind of foreshadow his fall to the dark side eventually. Third up is Revenge of the Sith, which was released in 2005, his third movie of the prequel trilogy. This movie takes place 3 years after Attack of the Clones and in the midst of the Clone Wars. It begins with Jedi Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker in a giant space battle, and they rescue the Chancellor from General Grievous. After, the Jedi Council raises suspicions of Palpatine, with whom Anakin has become very close to, and he is then tasked to spy on the Chancellor. This causes Anakin to distrust the Jedi quite a bit, and towards the end of the movie, he embraces the dark side of the Force. And he is one of the antagonists in Order 66, where most of the Jedi are killed by clones. And Obi-Wan ends up surviving and has to go stop Anakin, and then they duel on Mustafar, where Obi-Wan Kenobi takes out Anakin. The space battle at the beginning of the movie is probably my favorite part, almost. Maybe just below the duel at the end, because there's so much action and the starfighters are flying around and the magnitude of the battle is just really big. And then the duel on Mustafar, I guess it is my favorite duel in Star Wars. It is really cool, and the Battle of the Heroes music in the background helps keep the intensity and suspense of the duel throughout the entirety of it. And then the duels between General Grievous and Obi-Wan, and then Palpatine and Yoda, are also very neat. Fourth is the movie A New Hope, released in 1977, which started off all of Star Wars. It is the first movie of the original trilogy, and in this movie, Princess Leia is captured by Darth Vader, but she is able to send a message for help to Obi-Wan Kenobi with R2-D2 and CP3O before she is captured. R2-D2 and C3PO, along with Luke Skywalker, end up finding Obi-Wan Kenobi, and then they join Han Solo and Chewbacca to save Princess Leia from the Galactic Empire. After they save Princess Leia, they go and aid the Rebel Alliance in destroying the Death Star to restore some freedom to the galaxy from the tyrannous Empire. And Luke performing the trench run was very neat, and the destruction of the Death Star is quite cool. It's one of my favorite parts of this movie, and I think it's a great way to start Luke's character and show how where he begins, and it will show his journey to become a Jedi and then defeat the Empire. Fifth is The Empire Strikes Back, which was released in 1980. It is the second movie of the original trilogy, and in this movie, the Galactic Empire is attacking the Rebel Alliance base on the planet Hoth. The rebels are able to escape, and Luke Skywalker goes to Dagobah to train with Yoda, whereas Han Solo, Princess Leia, and Chewbacca all go to Cloud City on Bespin. Darth Vader ends up capturing those that went to Bespin, and he ends up freezing Han in carbonite and gives him to the bounty hunter Boba Fett. Luke senses that he needs to go to the rescue of his friends, and he goes to Cloud City and then faces Darth Vader in a lightsaber duel. Vader ends up cutting off Luke's hand and telling him that he is his father. Luke refuses to join Darth Vader, however, and Luke goes down an air shaft and is rescued by the rest of the group who escaped in the Millennium Falcon. The duel between Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker in this movie is incredibly iconic, and the "No, I am your father" by Darth Vader is probably one of the most well-known quotes from Star Wars. The battle on Hoth and Luke taking down the AT-AT is also very cool and iconic. The next movie, sixth movie specifically, is The Return of the Jedi, released in 1983. It is the third and final movie of the original trilogy. In this movie, Luke Skywalker, Princess Leia, and Chewbacca are all trying to attempt to rescue Han Solo, who is imprisoned by the crime lord Jabba the Hutt. After their rescue attempt fails, Luke, Han, and Chewbacca are taken to be fed to a Sarlacc. Luke ends up freeing everyone after he gets his lightsaber from R2-D2, who was there as well, and they go to destroy the Empire's second Death Star before it is completed. During the battle, Luke ends up surrendering himself to the Emperor and Darth Vader. Luke and Vader end up getting into a duel, and Luke cuts off one of Vader's hands, and the Emperor wants Luke to kill him. Luke refuses, and then the Emperor is not very happy with this, so he ends up striking Luke with some Force lightning. But then Vader intervenes, picks Palpatine up and throws him down a reactor shaft. And Vader was electrocuted in the process and ends up dying on the Death Star. Luke escapes with his body just before the Death Star is destroyed, though, and they go down to Endor. After their escape, they go down and celebrate with the rest of their friends. I liked it a lot when the group escaped from Jabba the Hutt. Them fighting back and destroying his sail barge. It was quite awesome. And then it's one of the few scenes with Boba Fett in the original trilogy, other than in The Empire Strikes Back. The duel between Vader and Luke Skywalker is also really good. There's a lot of energy, and it is just very iconic. The seventh movie is The Force Awakens, which was released in 2015, and it is the first movie of the sequel trilogy. The movie takes place many years after The Return of the Jedi, and it follows Rey, a scavenger from Jakku, and Finn, a former stormtrooper, and BB-8, as they are pursued by the First Order. After they steal the Millennium Falcon, they meet Han Solo and Chewbacca, and then go to Takodana, where they are ambushed, and Rey is captured by the First Order. The group of them that wasn't captured join the Resistance and go to Starkiller Base, and then they destroy Starkiller Base and save Rey, and she goes and finds Luke Skywalker, who exiled himself. This was actually the first Star Wars movie that I ever saw in theaters, and I think it is a very good movie overall. It does it has a lot of action, and it's new characters and old characters, and I remember being very shocked when Han Solo was killed. Eighth is The Last Jedi, which was released in 2017. It is the second movie of the sequel trilogy, and in this movie, the Resistance is fleeing from the First Order, and on the other side of it, Rey is trying to convince Luke Skywalker to come out of exile and join the Resistance and help them defeat the First Order. And Luke just refuses, and so Rey actually leaves and tries to help the Resistance, goes to the First Order's command ship, and allows herself to be captured. And Kylo Ren brings Rey to the Supreme Leader Snoke, but instead of killing Rey like Snoke wants, Kylo Ren kills Snoke. Then the fleeing Resistance ships are able to make it to the abandoned base on the planet Crete, where they try and defend themselves from the First Order. Rey's able to escape from the command ship after this, and she ends up going down to Crete, fighting some TIE fighters, while the rest of the Resistance is fighting on these old speeders against the First Order. But then Luke appears and distracts the First Order, while the Resistance then is able to escape. I remember seeing this movie in theaters, and I liked the battle on Crete quite a lot, despite the disadvantages the Resistance faced. And I also thought the duel between Kylo Ren and Luke Skywalker was pretty neat. It was kind of funny to watch. And then Luke disappears because it was just a force image of him. The ninth and final movie is The Rise of Skywalker, which was released in 2019. It is the third movie of the sequel trilogy. In this movie, Rey, Finn, Poe Dameron, and Chewbacca must find a wayfinder that will lead them to the planet Exegol, where Emperor Palpatine is with the Final Order. The group goes to Pisana, where they find a dagger with Sith text that will lead them to the wayfinder. Then they go to Kijimi to get the Sith text translated by C-3PO, where they have to change some of his programming because he refuses otherwise. Then the group goes to one of the moons of Endor, where the sunken Death Star has the wreckage is. And Rey ends up finding the wayfinder there. Then, she fights Kylo Ren, who is also there, and she beats him, but then, spares him. Then the Resistance goes to Exegol, and Rey defeats Palpatine with the help of Kylo Ren, who, after their fight, is now Ben Solo again, after he talked with his father that he killed. And then Ben Solo dies in the battle. And I remember seeing the movie in theaters, and I liked the cinematography. I thought it was pretty neat, but I felt like the plot and actual story of the movie was quite confusing and didn't really make too much sense. And the space battle at the end between the Resistance and the Final Order was very awesome and lots of action, and it was huge in scale. It was pretty neat. And now to end off everything, I'm going to give you my rankings of the movie. My favorite movie, number 1, is Revenge of the Sith. Number 2 is The Empire Strikes Back. 3 is Return of the Jedi. 4 is The Phantom Menace. 5, A New Hope. 6, The Force Awakens. 7, Attack of the Clones. 8, The Last Jedi. And then 9, The Rise of Skywalker. And my rankings of these changed often enough. None of these are set in stone. I know A New Hope and Phantom Menace could probably flip around very easily, and some of the other movies could definitely shuffle around, but I will say my definitive favorite is probably Revenge of the Sith. And my definitive, least favorite is The Rise of Skywalker, because it was the only movie that I, kind of almost didn't like, but I still enjoyed it. It was a good enough movie to watch. Like I said, I don't dislike any of my movies, and my rankings are basically based on which one I like more at the time than another. Another thing is all of the movies have great soundtracks, thanks to John Williams. The movies all have led to the creation of some very good memes, I will say. And I guess that is all I have for this video. Thank you for watching.